My question is about the Nation of Islam. What are some of the tenets of the Nation of Islam, and how is that different from a traditional understanding of Islamic laws and practices?
People often ask me about the Nation of Islam's beliefs and whether Nation of Islam beliefs are similar to or different from those of most other Muslims. First of all, it's important to say that the Nation of Islam is a small group in the world of Islam. Out of over 1.5 billion Muslims in the world, there are likely only tens of thousands of members of the Nation of Islam in the United States and the Caribbean. This is an English-speaking group that started in 1930 outside of Detroit, Michigan, and grew to be a very prominent civil rights organization after World War II. Some of its foundational beliefs contradict those of most other Muslims. For example, many members of the Nation of Islam believe that W.D. Farad Muhammad, a man, a human being, appeared in Detroit in 1930 and that he was God incarnate. He was Allah in the flesh. This belief contradicts that of most other Muslims who think that God cannot manifest in a bodily form. That would be the Islamic sin of shirk or associationism. Another belief that is different in the Nation of Islam is that Elijah Muhammad, born in the late 1890s in Sandersville, Georgia, originally named Elijah Poole, that he was the messenger of Allah, or a prophet. Not all Muslims, but most Muslims believe that the final prophet sent to humankind was Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Muhammad the son of Abdullah, who died in 632 in Arabia. So that's another main contradiction. In addition, some of the practices of the Nation of Islam contradict those of the majority of Muslims, but that has changed. Increasingly, Louis Farrakhan's Nation of Islam, the Nation of Islam that he formed in the late 1970s, has increasingly taken on many of the practices associated with Sunni Islam. Those include, for example, Friday prayers, the practice of the Ramadan fast during the month of Ramadan instead of at Christmas time as it used to be held. So you might be wondering how to think about the Nation of Islam in terms of the similarities between it and other forms of Islam. It's important to keep in mind that there has never just been one Islam, at least from a historical standpoint. Believing Muslims may think that there is, and may believe that there is only one form of Islam, and that's part of their faith. But from a historical point of view, Muslims have always about the most basic questions about what it means to follow the Prophet Muhammad and the words of God in the Quran. So, when we look at the Nation of Islam, one of the ways that we can think of it is as a minority group that has some very different doctrinal views than most other Muslims, but that can still be included in the great 1400-year-long conversation about what does it mean to be a Muslim.